yachts make some of the biggest yachts in the world. How did your shipyard start?
Well, it started almost by accident back in 1978. Franz Heesen, the founder of the shipyard, was looking for a factory to carry on his motorcycle business, and he found the ideal shed. It was then in Oss, but there was a yacht being built inside it. The previous company had gone bankrupt, and the mayor of Oss persuaded Franz Heesen to stop his successful motor bicycle business and to build the boat. And well, the rest is history. He carried on building boats. But Franz Heesen was like one of Napoleon's generals. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are, as long as you're lucky, you'll survive. And Franz Heesen was a lucky person, is a lucky person. And of course, not long after the yard was founded in 1978, the West went into the oil crisis. And of course the Middle East, the Saudis and the Middle East people became very rich. They then came into Europe and wanted to buy yachts. And of course a shipyard that's making modern high-speed luxury yachts was an exciting prospect for new money. Well, I mean, it's when a new yacht has started, it can be either we start it ourselves because we build boats speculatively to put onto the market for sale. So if we're starting a boat ourselves, we go through quite a rigorous market analysis to see what fits. We've done this for a long time, so we have a pretty good idea of where we're going to go, but we'll normally hire 3 designers to come up with proposals, and then we review those and eventually we come to a decision. But if it's a new owner that's coming to build a boat, well, of course, then the owner will decide what he wants, and we'll help them along the way to make the decisions that you need to make to build the boat.
What's, if I can ask, the stranger request?
Do you know, I mean, everybody asks that question because we're dealing in a world of obviously the very, very rich people who can afford to do anything. But yachts are sadly quite conservative things, and yacht owners are mostly quite conservative. I mean, the exterior designs evolve a little bit as the years go by. Some of the interiors are, some boats' interiors, believe it or not, are actually quite plain and simple. But I think to answer your question, probably the oddest request we had was for an owner who wanted to put on the bow of the boat in the front a telescopic seat. It's actually 2 seats, so he and his wife can sit next to each other, and when they're arriving in harbour or they're in a particularly nice place, they can sit on these seats, and it raises up about 3 or 4 meters, above the deck. So you're sitting on the front of the yacht, raised above the bow, looking over the world. Well, I mean, historically, most of our clients were European and American. For a period, there were a lot of Russian buyers in the shipyard. They're not around anymore, and so now we've gone back pretty much to probably the predominant buyers are American. Middle East has become a much bigger market for us, and of course Europe. The shipyard is located more or less in the middle of Holland. We're not on the coast. We are about more than 100 kilometers from the ocean. So of course when we finish building these boats, they've got to be transported out to sea. Well, Holland, as you know, is a sort of huge network of rivers and canals, and between us, where we build the boats, and the nearest big river, which is the Maas, there's a relatively short stretch of canal, and the yachts just go through those canals. Then they're in the river network, and then you go down river to Rotterdam. But we have to be careful because some of the bridges are restricted height. We have to take off all of the top structure, the masts, the antennas and aerials and all of that. You take off, and that gets put on a separate barge. So when the boat goes under the bridges, it is at the most reduced height it can be. Oh, Gino, that's a really hard one to answer. I think luxury is probably the the ability for somebody to do what they want. It's the freedom to choose what and how you want to do it. And I mentioned a little bit earlier that you'll be surprised that some interiors of yachts are relatively simple and others can be very rich and sophisticated. And I think that's the real definition of luxury, is somebody can come to us and their dreams can become a reality, which sounds very crass when you say it, but actually, you know, it's a very pleasant experience. It's actually the nicest part of the job is meeting the owner and their families, their husband and wife and the children, and they all get into a room and you've got the paper with the layout of the boat, and then the dreams start unfolding, and somebody wants to do this, somebody else wants to do that, and they want to lay their rooms out in a particular way and the way they want to use the boat, and some people like sport fishing, so we have to make special arrangements for that, and others like diving and all sorts of things. And I think that's really the luxury. I mean, yachts are the ultimate expression of luxury, because you can, you know, aeroplanes you're restricted because the thing needs to take off and it's a tube and all the rest of it, and you can only land an aeroplane at an airport, and cars are limited to a particular size. But a yacht, you can have a yacht that's 5 meters long, or you can have a yacht that's 150 or 180 meters long, and you can go where you want in the world with it. That's luxury.